No one in the grand marble hall of the bank noticed the frightened young girl until silence suddenly fell around her. She stood near the counter wearing worn-out shoes, a faded dress, and holding an old cloth bag close to her chest, as if it contained the last hope she had left in the world. People glanced at her with judgment before looking away, convinced she had entered the wrong place. But within the next hour, the very people who dismissed her would witness a moment that would forever change the way they looked at kindness, poverty, and true wealth. Stay with this story until the end, because what happened next proves that a person's appearance can hide a life-changing truth. The girl was named Emily, an 18-year-old who had spent most of her childhood helping her sick grandmother survive in a tiny countryside home. Life had never been generous to her family. After losing her parents in an accident years earlier, she learned that every meal, every school book, and every warm blanket came only after countless sacrifices. She worked after school cleaning houses, collecting recyclable bottles, and helping elderly neighbors with chores just to buy medicine for the woman who had raised her with unconditional love. Despite living with constant hardship, Emily never allowed bitterness to replace kindness. She believed that honesty and compassion were treasures that no amount of money could ever purchase. A few weeks earlier, her grandmother had quietly handed her an old savings passbook wrapped inside a small envelope. The elderly woman explained that many years ago, Emily's late father had opened an account before leaving for work overseas. They had never checked it because life became overwhelming after tragedy struck, and the passbook was forgotten inside an old wooden box. Now, with hospital bills becoming impossible to pay, Emily decided to visit the bank and discover whether anything remained in the account. She did not expect miracles. She simply hoped there would be enough to buy medicine for another month. Walking into the luxurious bank felt like entering another world. Crystal lights reflected from polished floors while well-dressed customers discussed investments worth more than Emily could imagine. Every step she took made her feel smaller. She carefully waited in line, holding the fragile passbook tightly, praying that no one would notice how nervous she was. When the manager happened to see her weathered clothes and hesitant expression, he assumed she had come asking for charity rather than banking services. Without taking time to understand her purpose, he smiled sarcastically before calling attention to the old passbook she presented. Several nearby employees exchanged amused looks, believing the account must have been empty for years. Some customers quietly laughed, convinced that the poor girl did not belong among wealthy clients discussing business and luxury investments. Emily lowered her eyes, embarrassed but determined. She had experienced humiliation before. Poverty had taught her that people often judged appearances before listening to stories. She remained respectful, patiently waiting while the manager reluctantly instructed an employee to check the account details. At first, the computer showed no immediate information because the account had been inactive for decades. The manager appeared even more confident that nothing valuable would be found. Yet after requesting archived records from the bank's central system, the atmosphere slowly began to change. The employee's expression shifted from casual boredom to complete disbelief. Another employee leaned closer to verify the numbers. Then a supervisor was called. Moments later, everyone around the computer stared silently at the screen. Years earlier, Emily's father had invested his overseas earnings into long-term certificates connected to the savings account. Those investments had quietly matured over many years, collecting interest and dividends without anyone claiming them. The forgotten account was no longer nearly empty. It had grown into a fortune worth several $1 million. The manager's confident smile disappeared instantly. His face turned pale as he realized that the young woman everyone had mocked was legally one of the bank's wealthiest individual account holders. The laughter filling the lobby vanished, replaced by complete silence. Employees who had barely acknowledged Emily moments before now stood respectfully, unable to hide their embarrassment. Yet something far more remarkable happened next. Instead of celebrating with excitement or showing anger toward those who had humiliated her, Emily simply closed her eyes and whispered a silent prayer of gratitude for her late father. Tears rolled gently down her face, not because she had become wealthy, but because she realized her grandmother could finally receive the medical treatment she desperately needed. For Emily, the money represented hope, safety, and the chance to protect the only family she had left. News of the forgotten fortune quickly spread throughout the local community. Reporters became interested in the extraordinary discovery, but they found something even more inspiring than the unexpected wealth. Emily refused expensive cars, designer clothes, and luxurious vacations. Instead, she immediately arranged the best medical care for her grandmother, repaired their aging home, and established a scholarship fund for children from struggling families who dreamed of continuing their education. She understood the pain of choosing between buying school supplies and buying food. She remembered cold winter nights when blankets were too thin and hunger made sleeping easier than staying awake. Because she had lived those experiences herself, every donation she made carried genuine compassion instead of public recognition. Months later, Emily quietly visited the same bank again. This time, employees greeted her with extraordinary respect. The manager personally welcomed her, deeply ashamed of his earlier behavior. Although he sincerely apologized for judging her based on appearance, Emily responded with calm kindness rather than resentment. She explained that everyone makes mistakes, but true character is revealed by whether people learn from them. Her forgiveness touched the manager more deeply than any criticism ever could. The incident transformed the entire bank. Staff members received new customer service training emphasizing dignity, equality, and respect for every visitor regardless of clothing, background, or financial status. Employees learned that wealth cannot always be seen, and neither can courage, integrity, or sacrifice. One humble young woman had changed an entire workplace simply by responding to cruelty with grace. Emily continued living a simple life despite her fortune. She often visited schools, hospitals, and community shelters without informing the media. She believed kindness achieved its greatest power when no applause followed it. Children admired her because she never acted superior. Elderly people blessed her because she listened patiently to their stories. Families facing hardship found hope because Emily understood their struggles instead of judging them. Years later, people no longer remembered the size of the forgotten bank account as much as they remembered the lesson it taught. They remembered the poor girl who entered a luxurious bank carrying nothing but an old passbook and quiet hope. They remembered how laughter turned into respect within a single afternoon. Most importantly, they remembered that genuine wealth is measured not by the balance shown on a screen, but by the compassion stored inside the human heart. If this emotional story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends and family, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us continue sharing inspiring stories that remind the world that kindness still exists. Before you go, answer one question in the comments. Have you ever been judged because of your appearance or financial situation? Your story may inspire someone who needs hope today. Always remember that clothes may reveal a person's style, but they never reveal their character. Money can change a person's circumstances overnight, but kindness has the power to change lives forever. Those who judge others too quickly often overlook the greatest miracles standing quietly before them, while those who treat every stranger with respect never have to regret the way they made someone feel. In the end, Emily's greatest treasure was never the fortune hidden inside the forgotten account. It was the humble heart that remained unchanged even after the world finally recognized her worth.